Welcome to this edition of 10314's Giving Tuesday episode. Today we're meeting with community leaders and friends from Staten Island. Kathy Delpiore and I are here, joined with the Honorable Mike Cusick, former State Assemblyman and now President and CEO of the SIEDC.
Great
and
to be
Liam
here.
Gilroy, who is involved in the community at large and works with a lot of different nonprofits on the island. So thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having us.
We're talking Giving Tuesday. So a big part of what we're trying to do is bring awareness to the different nonprofits on the island. Staten Island is rich with multiple hundreds. Like
Thousands.
Tatiana said
Right.
over 1,600 when she was here earlier. We want to be able to make sure that there's awareness and a sense of giving that continues in Staten Island, because that's really what makes this place special, is how the business community supports, gives back, and builds into the community. So we want to share a little bit of your backgrounds and maybe some tips, tricks, thoughts towards philanthropy and possibly being able to work with some of the nonprofits on the island.
Great. I want to thank Dan and Kathy for spearheading this today, but also the Grace Foundation's involvement in Staten Island. Staten Island is rich in our not-for-profits. Having traveled throughout the state in my former career in the State Assembly, Staten Island's unique in the sense that Staten Islanders are always looking to help each other. And here, particularly our not-for-profits, they work for the community, but they work together in doing that. And that is unique to any other part of New York State or New York City. They work in tandem to make sure that services are there for Staten Islanders. There's help when not only in need, but in everyday occurrences. And it's something that really makes this borough great.
Liam, you've been involved in different nonprofits over the years. Is there any words of encouragement or thoughts towards a nonprofit like Kathy about how they might be looking for help in one place, but they need to find help somewhere else, or if there's anything that could be like a good way to look for resources that are available?
First, I just want to say thanks for having me today. It's great to be involved in Giving Tuesday and to promote nonprofits on Staten Island. It's a huge part of really the economy on Staten Island, so it's a pleasure to be here. When I think of your questions and where you're going with that, I think of continuity and consistency. At the end of the day, if you want to make a community home to you, you need to treat that home the right way. And being in business on Staten Island for the majority of my career and engaging in the community, whether it be in business organizations or nonprofits, it has provided me an opportunity to give into something that ultimately was a promotion to my career and allowed me to connect with business owners and business leaders after already providing value that was meaningful for me, because you got to see the end user of it. You got to see the participants and the families and how they're going to be better off. I was off Staten Island, not living on Staten Island when I first got re-engaged. It was first through the SIEDC back in 2009, 2010. And then I was asked to join a board of a nonprofit that had taken over my home parish and school. And I saw the importance of keeping that parish alive. And through that engagement, I had the pleasure of seeing the resources that organization could provide. And that was something that instilled in me a sense of a responsibility to continue to that and to figure out how I can somehow give back and continue to do that.
Yeah, I think one of the special things too about just growing that community is that we're close.
Yep.
And I think something that we all have in common is that we're raising our kids to see these things that we're doing, so that way it resonates with the future. And that being able to bring them along to a nonprofit walk or an event or a world record or do something that is encouraging, I think is important, and I appreciate that in everybody in this room, really.
You bring up the record. For me, I'll always have a very specific memory of that, of holding my still not 2-year-old son in the middle of that crowd, and you guys organizing that and putting that together. He's not going to remember that, but I'll always remember holding that little lug through that 20-minute time period, and that was pretty cool. That's something that I'll always think about, and grateful that I was able to be a part of it.
It's part of history. It's something we'll always remember. Staten Island as a community that we got together with 2,400 plus people to come together, not just for the mission of raising awareness, but just to be a collaborative effort to say, we could do this, we're one voice. So if we could do this strong that day, we could do anything
Right.
together.
And that was a perfect example of Staten Island coming together, right? It didn't matter what organization was spearheading this, but everybody came together because it was for a good cause. And also, it shined a great light on Staten Island. And that was, again, I congratulate you guys for pulling that off, too, because that was not easy.
You were part of it. Everybody, we had over 2,400 people came out that day.
Exactly. But that's part of what we do in the community. I know in Grace, if we have a question, we call other agencies like an Eden or Newmark or Community Resources, or if a participant doesn't fit with us, we always make a phone call to make sure they could be somewhere else. So we all do work together, and that's how I feel the businesses work together as well. Everybody comes together and they support. Nobody wants to see somebody else hurting. And I think that's important. The mission's important. I think we're in a special place. I think that's great.
And you know, you mentioned the marriage between businesses and not-for-profits, particularly with the SIEDC. Our mission is to fuel the economy of Staten Island. But I see it as we can't do that without our not-for-profits or with our not-for-profits, because if we are able to bring more business to Staten Island, whether it's offshore wind or big corporations or companies, at some point there, those companies bring in new employees, new residents, new folks to Staten Island that can help fuel our existing not-for-profits. But on the reverse side of that, the not-for-profits, such as the Grace Foundation, can help those families that are coming to Staten Island, whether they have children with special needs or there's a not-for-profit that addresses another need for a family. There is that combination that is needed for both to exist, businesses, small businesses, large businesses, and not-for-profits. And that is something that we could not attract businesses here to Staten Island if it weren't for the strength of our community and what Staten Island stands for. And at the forefront of that is our not-for-profits.
I think something that was exciting this year was the SIEDC and its members elected Kathy and the Grace Foundation to be the nonprofit of the year. Earlier, I guess it was around May this year.
It goes so fast.
But it really does. But now we're here. We're looking forward to the holidays. The giving season is coming. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the resources that the EDC provides for nonprofits?
Sure, and I'll do a shameless plug at the same time. One resource coming up for us is our Health and Wellness Expo, which is one of our biggest conferences, and that is on November 2nd at the College of Staten Island. But how it can provide for not-for-profits is we have over 24 free screenings and vaccinations for flu vaccinations and COVID and others, but all free to the community. And we're in the process, our team at SIEDC is working with many of the not-for-profits to make sure that their members know about it, because it provides a service that is intimate and needed right away. So that is one example of how we're trying to help our not-for-profits here on Staten Island.
Liam, you got long family history here. You grew up here. How have you seen Staten Island and that effort to give and to be kind just grow over the years?
So that's one example. And I think weather happens to be an issue that gets people up and running. We've, unfortunately, the last couple of years, we've had some flooding issues on Staten Island and people get in bad situations. And that's just one example of when you see either a family or a business that's down because of an unfortunate God event, how everyone rallies around that and comes together. Just the pulling together that I've seen recently with the nonprofit world and how they involved in the community has been really important to me, or just it's been enlightening to see.
I think the transformation as a whole over on Targee Street where Lifestyles is at the LAC has been really great to watch. As my sister-in-law's in the program, and just watching the program over the years, we love Lifestyles. They were the first people to step up and say they wanted to be part of the world record with us, and that they're doing it, and they'll be there 100%. To see that collaboration between the different organizations that do similar things is great, because when we're all together, we could do bigger things.
Totally agree.
And you're unfortunately you're seeing more and more schools in different parishes struggle, and there's great opportunities to plug in resources at buildings that aren't being used. So you're almost watching the community evolve, and how one need is maybe not being fulfilled, or there isn't a value for it or demand for it necessarily, and how you're watching another need or demand that's coming in place of that, which is keeping the community stronger. If they hadn't stepped in, that specific example, if they hadn't stepped in when they did, that parish would have folded, that building probably would be an eyesore, that immediate community where I was raised, maybe the values of the home wouldn't be what they are. I think maintaining those relationships and keeping the nonprofit world successful and thriving is a motivation for any person that's invested in the community here.
So easy, I always say to someone, it's just a hand, just take it. It's a helping hand. And that's what we're all about, and that's what Giving Tuesday is. Again, it's not monetarily, it's spreading the word. It's just supporting something because we can and because we want to and we're able to. So that's why I thank our community for being there every day.
And even today, an example of this, you guys spending a couple minutes away from your business to come share your stories with us, that's part of giving. So we thank you for it. Any last parting words that you'd like to share for encouragement, people to be kind and consider giving during
Get
the
out,
season?
support,
Yes,
and give.
Yes, support the Grace Foundation, the other not-for-profits on Staten Island, because Staten Island needs our not-for-profits. And quite frankly, folks don't understand that until they face the need for a not-for-profit, but it's better to be prepared before you need it.
And if you feel overwhelmed, which sometimes people do, find one and focus on that. At the very least, do what you can. And a lot of people, I think, sometimes get overwhelmed, put their head in the sand. Do as little as you can in the beginning, and you'll see value in that. And that organization will appreciate it.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Great. Mike Cusick, Liam Gilroy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.